Hi, everyone. Welcome to Grayscale's deeper dive into story. Thank you for joining us. I am delighted to be joined today by S.Y. Lee, CEO and co founder of PIP Labs, an initial core contributor to Story. The purpose of these, as always, is to make the protocols underlying our products more tangible for investors. And before we kick it off, I am going to read through some disclaimers, so bear with me. This call is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be, nor should it be construed or used as investment tax or legal advice, an investment recommendation, an IRA provider recommendation, or an offer to sell, or the solicitation of an offer to buy any digital asset or security. Clients of Grayscale may maintain positions in the digital assets discussed on this call. Any opinions expressed through this webinar are solely my own and our own and do not necessarily express the views or opinions of Grayscale or any of its affiliated entities. With that, I'm delighted to kick it off. I'm going to hand it over to SY. SY, can you provide us some background on yourself?
Yes, thank you first of all for inviting me to this webinar. I'm deeply excited to actually work with and collaborate with Grayscale. And so just on me, I've been working at the intersection of intellectual property and technology for last 12 years. So the last company that I sold, it was at the intersection of storytelling and mobile. So it was a serialized storytelling platform where we use gamified micropayment mechanism to actually, for to monetize serialized content. So lots of every day there's a new chapter coming out of story that you're following. If you want to read it early, you pay micropayment. If you just wait, you can just read it for free. And I scaled to tens of millions of dollars revenue and sold it to the biggest tech company in Korea called Kakao, which is the kind of the WhatsApp or Meta of Korea. So after that, I've been, there was an application company that's trying to basically innovate intellectual property industry by trying to find the best IP. Right, fiction is the cheapest form of cheapest form of IP. Right, it's the ultimate source IP. It's Harry Potter, the Lord of the Rings. It's everything where it starts from. So I was trying to innovate that industry with fiction first and mobile, but I wanted to kind of focus more on the deeper structure issue around intellectual property, and that's how I came to the idea of story protocol.
Okay, great. And so that was going to be my next question. What sparked the idea? You've just answered that. So, how has then the initial vision evolved to what Story has become today?
So so I would like to kind of clarify what Story is doing for the first uh, before I go into that. Story, if you think of kind of, you know, um, the best way to describe it is I'm trying to make a massive intellectual property Legoland. Think your likeness. Think your this character, Marvel character. Think a data set. At the moment, if you want to, as an AI model company, if you want to find, okay, I really need to train my robotics AI model. I want to find all the training intellectual property, real world data around, real world footage around, video footage around how, you're doing some mechanical Turks task at home, like, home cleaning, dishwashing. There's no way to find that clearly. And how to, even if you manage to find it, what is the license behind it? How do you license it, right? All these things are opaque. Let's say if you want to actually, I really love Justin Bieber Peaches. I'm a DJ. I'm a creator. I want to remix the song with AI tools and create derivative of Justin Bieber music, right? Uh, do you talk to the agent? Do you talk to the lawyers? How do you legally do this? There's so much friction in the IP landscape because there's no global registry of IP and there's no licensing royalty sharing terms that are attached to it. There's lawyers, there's PDF, there's paper involved. So what we try to do is we are trying to turn every piece of IP, every piece of kind of data into a programmable IP, which is a Lego piece. So every single IP has a QR code of how to use that IP, how to license that IP. So even without talking to lawyers, even if I'm looking at this paper, you can just use that IP to create remix derivative, also just trade, right? That's the essence of tokenization. It turns into a financial asset. It also turns into a programmable asset that you can make use of. And kind of IP Lego that is like a elementary school explanation of how I describe it. But for some software investors and people who are in software, great way to think about it is it's like creating a GitHub for intellectual property. So if you think about software, all these software developers, they go to GitHub, they can see the entire software code around the world, and they can pick and choose, and they say forking, they remix it, they license it, they create their own version, right? So we're essentially creating a GitHub for intellectual property, where you see the entire IP landscape, and you can all their each piece of IP has a QR code. You can fork it. You can use it like a Lego piece to create what you want. So that's kind of what we're doing. And the evolvement at the start was, I made the we made the name story protocol. So given my kind of media entertainment kind of storytelling, I've been thinking about the realm of IP more in terms of just you know just kind of entertainment IP, like music, fashion, games, storytelling, characters, and also the context of the Web3 back then. There was things like Board Apes Yacht Club. There's play to earn games. There were metaverses popping up. So that was that. When I think about IP, I was just that. But as actually AI developed a lot more, whereas AI models need to scale licensing. They can't talk to a million data providers and do one-on-one negotiation. That's really difficult. That's so bespoke. That's so lengthy. So as AI models developed, a story developed more as an AI native infrastructure to license and also register data for AI model companies too. So there's that one piece which is about tokenization of IP and just traditional IP like entertainment franchises. But now we're actually also expanding onto kind of tokenization of real world data that could be used for AI model companies, especially for robotics companies and many types of other physical AI model companies. Right. So
That's a great explanation. And given what we know, the or the IP market today is reported to be around, in the tens of trillions. That's a really significant opportunity. And also, I had no idea you were a DJ. Truly, truly a renaissance man.
no, not a DJ, but I would love to be able to remix some songs that I
Yeah.
like through SoundCloud. Yeah.
Um, so let's talk about the how. How do you make IP programmable? How is Story doing that today?
So basically, what we do at the programmable license is basically every single IP. When I say programmable, uh, you know, let's also talk about the name programmable, the phrase programmable. In the world of DeFi, in the world of decentralized finance, people talk about programmable money, right? There is a stark difference and stark contrast between $1 paper bill and $1 stablecoin. Because stablecoin is a permissionless money that can interface with a bunch of type of open source software and open software decentralized financial applications. So it's really has a network effect. The $1 stablecoin is much more powerful than $1 paper bill. In the same way, when I say IP is programmable, we have a built-in API for remixing, licensing the IP. So what I mean by that is we have what we call a token-bound legal wrapper. So we call it programmable IP license. It has sets of terms, like royalty share. It's an upfront licensing fee. What kind of licensing fee? What kind of permissions you have around the IP? So all those things are actually, uh, you have the legal enforcement. We're on-ramping this legal wrapper to the on-chain world, blockchain world. And not only just you're bringing this legal contract on-chain, but you also program that in a software code format, so any machine can read and write on top of that IP. And the biggest kind of analogy is I like to say, especially people familiar with QR code, each IP has a QR code of how to license and remix that IP, right? So without even talking to any middlemen like lawyer agents, business development department, looking at just paperwork and doing these legal agreements, you can license that data. You can license that IP. you can remix that IP. So if I want to make a derivative Justin Bieber song or a Blackpink song, if I want to make a derivative Crocs fashion design item, if I want to make a synthetic data out of raw data created, actually collected from a developing country kind of uh, folks who are making who are doing mechanical Turks works kind of data work. You can do that all of that seamlessly without all these heavy middlemen work. Is what we're doing, and also these are all done through small contracts, so it automatically tracks the attribution. Once you remix and fork and license it, it automatically pays out the royalty. All these are automatic, and while it traces the attribution of IP.
And how do you scale that across the different forms of IP? So music, fashion, real world data, and AI. Talk to us a little bit about how Poseidon fits in.
So yeah, I can give you a little more background on that. So blockchain, uh, there are I think, two forms of blockchain in the world. I mean, so one is what I call generalized blockchain, Solana or Ethereum. Those blockchains is about just speed, right? And also transaction volume, transaction speed, and so on and so forth. And they don't have a focus. Story is a blockchain, focus on intellectual property, and our go-to-market is partnering with best application developers for each vertical. And you can pray, you can pray and spray. You can just say bottoms up development will work. But how we've been working with is having a very strong ecosystem team plus incubation team, business development team that work with handful of developers that we partner with to integrate our protocol behind our application. So we have a strong fashion and merch remixing app called Ablo, which we have a great music IP RWA, music IP tokenization. It's like an investment product app called ARIA protocol. We have what we call IP coin. Meme coin is a big thing in Solana, but it doesn't pay Pepe owner. It doesn't pay Doge owner. So that's a problem. So how do we fix that meme coin culture to be a win-win scenario for IP owners? So we have a company called IP That World. Now we have and we thought the AI problem is so huge, so we incubated ourselves a company called Poseidon, where the best way to describe it is for those of you have heard of Scale AI, which just got acquired by Meta for $15 billion, is a decentralized scale AI, open scale AI that actually rewards data collectors and data labelers with crypto incentives and actually use the programmable IP story protocol to license them to Teslas of the world, open AIs of the world. So it's about selecting partners that we want to double down in the early days. So we're more hands-on. So to actually have winners in our ecosystem, while also opening up bottoms-up permissionless nature of blockchain, and anyone can contribute, anyone can build application. But we want to make sure we have a really winning applications that consumers can interface with as soon as possible. So we we identify some of these various verticals like real world data and AI, music tokenization, because music asset actually Blackstone to KKR are buying these music. It's already a financial asset class. So that was a good bet. Fashion, people pay for fashions, right? People do collaboration with other fashion companies and actually sell new products. And people are already remixing fashion. So I think that was a good shot. And meme coin, I thought that was a really big problem that the Pepe owner is not making money, Doge owner is not making money. So it's actually just identifying that few verticals and doubling down while not stretching ourselves too thin. You know, it's kind of how we're doing it.
And so, just in speaking of being hands on, I know if there's folks out there who are more like me, visual learners, to the extent there's something SY that you want to show people that might help them understand or make things more tangible, I would welcome you to try to share your screen and do it now.
Yeah, so I would love to actually
And you
do.
can explain it along.
Yeah, so actually, this is a company called Ablo.ai, which is on top of Story, being powered by Story. They have a ball my shoes that's actually registered as an IP here, right?
Wow.
And with an AI tool, you can remix. It just type lion, so it has kind of looks more like clouds, but let's say it's a lion, lion graphic, and you can kind of have this kind of sky blue lion kind of stuff actually being registered here, right? So that's kind of and you can actually sell this to third parties with 3D printers and actually share the revenue with Balmain. So that's one way. And then actually, what Ablo does is, because IP owners have a very high threshold of brand protection, they actually fine tune the open source AI model, Stable Diffusion model, to make sure they don't they don't spit out some very politically controversial artworks or something like this. They actually fine tune it very strongly with the brand, and then they actually set the licensing royalty sharing, the fine tune the model, and people can make derivative of the fashion design. So that's one item, right? This is the company called IP.world. There's a very famous TikTok cat called Evil Larry. This Evil Larry is I mean, it's owned by a 50-something-year-old woman, and actually, Evil Larry is a what we term IP coin, because Solana is vast majority of transaction volume is on meme coin, but they don't have the IP attribution. So what happens here is that anyone can create IP coin, creative IP coin around a meme, and actually there's a uh, allocation for the real IP owner. The IP owner can verify themselves through social media verification that they own this account. They can actually then get the real IP um, revenue share that they deserve. So the owner already have $1.5 million from
Wow.
this thing. It's already 40-50 million dollar market cap coin, right? IP token, right? And you can see, it's just so that you understand the virality of this IP. And also there are a lot of these remix Little Larry, Good Larry, My Neighbor Larry tokens that are coming out. And all these remix derivative, they also set the terms. Evil Larry has set the terms around what kind of airdrop they should give for these remixes. And you can track that again here. ARIA protocol is basically opening up the financial opportunity that was only available to the Blackstones of the world and KKRs of the world. Blackstone and KKR have bought, and also Apollo plus Timco have bought billions of music catalog. Music catalog is almost like real estate, because you actually there are the statistics that people say in a 10 or 20 years streaming revenue is going to go vastly up, because actually, India, actually Africa, all these developing countries, they'll all become paid subscribers, paid streamers of music royalty. And so the music royalties is an increasing asset class. And it's like, it actually gives you a very stable yield, like owning a real estate, owning corporate bonds. So now with stablecoin from anywhere around the world, you can actually earn uh, or own a piece of Justin Bieber Peach, own a piece of Blackpink, own a piece of Miley Cyrus. And what's great is not about just financializing this asset, right? Once it's on chain, if you happen to actually bring a full copyright of this song, people can now actually use this IP as a Lego piece to create my version of Justin Bieber Peaches remix, her my version of Blackpink remix, right? And that could create additional revenue, additional fandom engagement, which actually brings more yield for the IP, right? So yeah, so that's these are the type of apps that are already on Story. That's actually very exciting. All of them already got venture funding, and then lastly, the company that just we just launched called Poseidon is actually a company that we actually incubated uh, out of Story. It's a it's still in stealth mode, but it's just I mean it's Andreessen Horowitz, which is the largest venture capital in the U.S., actually led the funding round, its seed round, and what it does is if you have heard of this company Scale AI, what it does is actually it's actually pretty simple. They have a bunch of companies that they make and they work with, or in India or developing countries, and they have, to be honest, a little bit of digital sweatshop environment of having a lot of workers just label the data, collect data at the moment. That's very centralized. It's very different layers of how that works, and you don't know if actually people consented to share that data, and blah blah blah, right? So instead of that, let's make that voluntary. Let's make that scalable. Let's make that really, really more and more instantaneous. What we do is, if you have, if like an interesting idea, interesting kind of thought experiment is that even if you scrape the entire internet's data, you cannot have a robot hold a cup, because you need like millions of different angles of egocentric video footage in millions of different lighting setting, so many different physical environments to get the robot to use the hand to hold a coffee cup, right? In that environment, how do you get those data? One way is to hire a shell company and get many people to do it. And the other way is, okay, we're going to make a really fun gamified app. It's a DPIN app, decentralized physical infrastructure app. You actually play this this game to upload your video data and actually consent to IP terms. That's put on story chain as a clear IP terms, and then you actually earn story tokens. On the other side, Teslas of the world, or NVIDIA robotics of the world can actually license the data and pay for that data. And then they know the IP is safe. There's a programmable IP, and they can search that IP in the story IP ledger. So that's kind of what we're doing on that one, because we think the next phase of AI is not about having the best compute, having the best model. Models like open source and commoditized, open like DeepSeek, OpenAI, Anthropic, not much that difference. It's 2 3 month difference at most. And models, and the compute is pretty monopolized by NVIDIA. So the next alpha, the next mode is actually data and IP. So we want to scale the collection and licensing of that through crypto rails, and you can pay back these folks on crypto and it's stablecoin instantaneously for this thing, rather than hiring a shell company, paying that. You don't even know if they consent to actually give these kind of IP at all, right? So that's kind of what we're doing with Poseidon. So yeah, so I think I spoke about different types of apps. So like, we can go to the next
Oh,
question.
it's great. It's extremely compelling.
Yeah.
So, taking a step back, when we think about just more from a cultural IP standpoint, how do the partnerships come about?
So the partnerships come about. So I think there's for, as you saw with Aria, you saw Blackpink, Justin Bieber, John Legend, and Madonna songs coming in. So I actually think Story Protocol is badly infra. We're not going to be able to actually work with, you know, we're not going to be. I'm not going to be the biggest music expert. I'm not going to be the guy who can sign Tesla to like license data. To be very honest with you, like I'm not capable of all of that. But what we can do is we can work with the world's best expert uh, to build that application. So for Aria's case, it's actually run by someone who's really deeply in finance. So Goldman Sachs, former Goldman Sachs portfolio manager, who actually worked at DeFi for 4 years and running a DEX at Arbitrum, plus a very experienced music lawyer who worked with the top bands, top musicians everywhere around the world. So two of them have been actually getting all the partnerships to acquire this music rights for it, and to give that access to the audience. The fashion app that actually got the Adidas, Crocs, Balmain partnerships, it's actually started by a also one business guy, like a former McKinsey partner, plus actually a Nike creative director. So he has all the fashion connections to actually onboard this, I think. So for us, it's working with very strong experts, and we provide the infrastructure and web doing expertise to propel the business development. And then, because of this cultural touch points, we now have over 1.7 million transactions and 200,000 monthly active wallet users. Yeah.
Wow. So, if I'm an existing creator, maybe I'm a YouTuber, um, how can that help me when others are clipping, and reusing the content that I've created?
So I think twofold is one is that uh, you know one of the things we're doing is we're actually, for you TikTok, you don't get this right, but YouTube, you actually own the IP according to YouTube terms of service. So actually there are a few things we're working with YouTubers. One is actually they have this cash flow generated YouTube back catalog. You can actually lend against this asset. So actually, how do you create DeFi mechanics? How do you actually pull in the YouTube data seamlessly to the chain, on chain, and then do lending, So actually you can sell, trade, right? And Mr. Beast wouldn't do that, but let's say you're you're pretty rich, wealthy, but you want to get a house, you want to lend it against your catalog, or you want to sell some of the catalog. That's actually an option. Secondly, also, you can also set up the IP and declare the IP licensing terms around your YouTube kind of IP. And okay, if you license remix, you should follow this rule, and you just you know uh, obviously it will be vastly easier if we have a seamless YouTube integration. We're not there yet, but the first step is actually registering and declaring the licensing royalty sharing rights around your IP. no one no one's doing that, but you can actually go to IP portal. You say, okay, if you want to use this video, this IP, do this is the terms, this is what you do, how you do it. So I think there's a financial
Mhm.
aspect that you can utilize of the blockchain. The second is, okay, so let's start from just declaring that I own this IP and here are the terms around how to use my IP. Yeah, on the chain. Yeah.
So that's today. Let's talk about sort of updates and future growth. Where do you see, the next wave of adoption coming from? Is it creative industries, data platforms, more AI focused? What's the next pivotal point when it comes to adoption, and what's driving that?
So two things is, I think, I mean, one is that we think the existing crypto investors and also the existing a lot of people who are interested in blockchain in general really love the story, like the asset story. And actually, they really respond to that. We're getting a lot of traction. So we want to get the $10 million music catalog to 100 million billion. We want to give that access to global stablecoin financial rail to be able to trade, invest in this very, very easily. Just not music. It can be sports. It can be any other thing. So I think just the tokenization story is very compelling. Like how people are now getting access to tokenized stocks with Robinhood, tokenized T-bills to securitize. Actually, stablecoin is a tokenized dollar bill. But just going beyond the tokenization of IP is a really strong one that we are going to double down on. Number two is there are verticals within IP that are programmable. IP is very compelling. So now actually people can create games with vibe coding in like 10 minutes, and it's like a really compelling Nintendo game or MMORPG game. So what you can do is I can kind of register my Pudgy Penguin IP, and I can set the licensing term around Pudgy making games out of my Pudgy Penguin IP, and then people can make tens of Pudgy Penguin vibe coded games, and that actually is a very compelling studio level game. And in 1 year, I think in 2 years, it may be anyone can make a Blizzard Activision level game with vibe coding, and I can utilize Pudgy Penguin. I can utilize, I don't know, hopefully Hello Kitty, and make Hello Kitty game, right? So those kind of area where there are the vibe coding and the AI tool is making everyone so powerful to become a studio level one person shop. I think there's a huge opportunity there with AI remixing and original IP and vibe coding. That's second. Third is, I think we do think AI, like, especially with the vacuum of scale AI. So we're talking to like Teslas of the world, NVIDIA robotics of the world, Anthropics of the world. There's a huge vacuum after scale AI just left the race because no one want like Meta is a big competitor to all these companies because they make their own llama. They even maybe want to dabble with some chips. So everyone wants to have a neutral, open uh, kind of scale AI that they can work with that is instantly scalable. So I think for us, we're already getting. I mean, we want to reveal a bit, in the future, but we want to get, you know, we have exciting AI partnerships coming on board that could actually, right, that could actually, and that's going to be real revenue coming from these AI model companies. And actually, we're matching this with the crypto financial rail where we can instantly coordinate labor across the globe. Now, some people actually find it very funny when on Twitter, crypto Twitter, most of the like replies on your tweet as a founder is from Nigeria, from or different parts of the world. But it's not. It's actually It's remarkable because you're galvanizing global crowd instantly, right? Which is exciting. You can use the same incentive system to actually collect IP safe data that can be scaled to other AI model companies, which are they're in desperate need at the moment, is what we are seeing at the Silicon Valley. You know,
And then, what are you, without giving us any material non public information, what are you most excited about on the roadmap? Additionally, I think you can think about what this looks like, 5, 10 years from now.
yeah. So 5 to 10 years, if this goes well, I'm a I'm a I'm a like 12-year-old fifth grader in elementary school. I want to make a game out of Hello Kitty. I want to make a game of Project Penguin. I want to make a game out of something with vibe coding. I can do that legally and actually make a lot of money. And from doing that, and then actually that IP owner wins and I win all together. That's exciting. I'm an AI model company. I need this specific type of data. Instead of us working with centralized data collection, data labeling company to get them to make to a contract with the shell company in India to hire these workers to create label the data and collect data. I can just search it on the data IP registry, global IP registry called Story Blockchain, and license the data instantly, and then pay it back to the IP owner according to terms that IP owner themselves agree to and declared. And if it's not, I actually put up a task request, and everyone actually, oh, here's a bounty, and everyone actually get galvanized across the globe and actually create data and actually get instantly paid back by stablecoin crypto incentives. I want to actually own a piece. I really think Rose's apartment is a great song, and I think it's going to generate 20% yield every year. I want to be investing in it. I want to find it here. I want to invest. Like I want, that's it's a critical mass of IP coming here. It's critical amount of data coming here, and that's actually used for it is your own creativity, your own creative derivative work, your financial investment. Uh, that's for developing your powering your AI model. I think those are I want that to be really frictionless. For now, to be honest, we're still in the first inning or point 0.5 inning of doing this. So we don't have those IPs. We don't have that critical mass of data. We don't have all those things in place. But as the network gets traction, we think we'll have the network effect to get the flywheel going. Is our hope. Yeah.
Well, that's very exciting. We're certainly really excited about it. In terms of the prepared questions, I think you covered everything I had. If you're amenable, we can take a few of the questions that have come in to us from investors, if that's of interest. One of the questions is, what industries are you seeing that are adopting Story's infrastructure for IP rights?
Uh, Pardon, can you repeat that question
Just
again?
from the industries, where are you seeing the adoption of Story's infrastructure?
I think first we're seeing, as already said,
Yeah.
music industry is a good one, and the second because there's so many middlemen in that layer. Second one is I think the AI model companies who really want to get AI model company who really want to get data really seamlessly and scale in a scalable way, as I mentioned with Poseidon. Thirdly, and we are, yeah, I mean, yeah, we then thirdly, we another big area that we're seeing is actually user-generated content platform. So what I say is, okay, I'm a vibe-coded gaming platform.
Mhm.
I'm a collaborative illustration platform. All these platforms, right, give you an IPs are just being generated by the bottoms-up crowd, and they also want to collaborate with other people very, very seamlessly. So those things are not IP with heavy protection. So these bottoms-up IP creators are much more willing to participate in this kind of collaborative economy. Yeah.
Another question, who do you see as competitors or who has a similar focus on tokenization in terms of IP?
Uh, at the moment, I don't think there's one single kind of player at the moment. In some ways, Ethereum had Ethereum had MFTs
Hmm.
started with OpenSea. In some ways, Solana's meme coin is in some way memes are IPs as well. So there's a very cultural phenomenon, cultural IP activity going with, coupled with speculation. But I don't think they tackle this singular problem in an infrastructure level. So, and it's a massive asset class. We want to be purpose built for that problem. So I think like if you saw the last bull run, it was all about Ethereum NFTs, right? Those like Boarding Golf Club, to CryptoPunks, all these things.
I still own a
And-
few of those.
yeah, yeah, yes, and then actually for this cycle, it was meme coin, and meme coin was about it's not just a Doge or dog with hat or all these things, and it's like it's just photos or just memes. Memes is a viral form of IP, right? And then there was no infra IP layer for that. So I just I think this is a very compelling use case that people flocked in blockchain and crypto, but no one has actually had a dedicated solution around this as an infrastructure.
That makes sense. Okay, I think we have time for a couple more. What, in terms of building what you build, what are have there been any lessons or challenges historically that have shaped or informed how you're approaching things for the future?
I think first is uh, um, you have to be a little bit open minded about kind of the definition of intellectual property. Intellectual property is everything from biomedical patents to its a music catalog. It's AI training data sets. There's so many things. There's like picking the right fight in the early days is right is very important. But for us, we saw the most compelling problem at the intersection of IP and AI, the intersection of IP and finance, and the and some of it AI remixing and IP. So just because it's such a vast market, how do we tackle it and then the go to market stage? That was a very challenging one, and I think we identified with that IPAI, real world data, IP finance, and right kind of AI remix from vibe coding usage. And another big thing is if you get too hung up on getting the biggest IP, um, uh, that's going to take so many years, right. Like that's going to take so many years. I know a friend of mine was doing like a very top blockchain to get a contract with Disney. It took 2, 3, 4 years, right? So it's just don't like there's other ways to tackle the IP problem without getting this kind of thing. So I think it can be from real world data. It can be just like music investing. There's so many ways to tackle this and so many different angles. You just have to get a few wins from there and to use cases to just kick up, start kickstart the flywheel effect. So I think that's the pro. I mean, you know, I think you got to be very open minded about how you start the ecosystem.
So I think we have time for one more. Thinking about the intermediate term, what is the foundation focused on investing in the next year in terms of development? What's the focus over the next year?
And the next year is we want to we want to double down a lot on this Poseidon project, right? We're going to put a lot of resource in engineering, business development, protocol integration, so that we make a global data registry that any AI models can license, and then also just have a great incentive structure for getting that data in a IP cleared data sets, right? So that's where we're putting a lot of time on. Number two, I'm not putting a lot of resources on, as I said, IP tokenization, starting with music. Third, we want to showcase the programmable IP primitive, and we are thinking about what are the most exciting verticals where people want to remix, and that remixing actually also creates value, and you can actually commercialize that. Fashion remix is a good one. Game is a good one because people already mod games and have made money, and also we're even going into this realm of retroactive licensing. There are a lot of illegal remixes. There's IP protection, profit detection platform of infringement. We actually surface that, and actually, a company like Lucasfilm, LVMH, they surfaced this IP. Oh, okay, this actually remix in Etsy, this derivative on Etsy, this thing in this platform. It's exciting. Let's actually retroactively license it. true story. So things like that, we those three areas, right? We're focused on tokenization, AI, real world data for physical AI models, and just kind of AI remixing for fashion games, and just helping brands detect illegal remixings and help them retroactively license those IPs.
Well, we're very much looking forward to seeing the ways in which you guys are going to grow and develop in the next year. And beyond that, we are about at time. So I want to take a second to say thank you to for joining us. This has been awesome. And thank you for everybody who has dialed in. I hope that everybody has a great rest of their day.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.